I saw it on the phone. I don't know. I hear myself echoing.
Welcome in, Sweet Tea in the SEC. We're running a little late. Had a little mic issue on my computer. We thought it was Adam's fault, but it was ended up being mine. How you doing, Adam?
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you doing after this? All this excitement with Lane Kiffin, and then good week of college football. I'll be honest though, it kind of was. There wasn't a whole lot of drama for being rivalry week. Usually, that's one of the most drama-filled weekends there is, and it didn't seem to be like that this week.
It didn't. It seemed like the drama was more in the coaching carousel.
It really was.
We had a lot more in the coaching carousel that was way more exciting in terms of the games. The games just kind of were like, I mean, it kind of all went about, like we expected.
Yeah, I think the drama wasn't on Saturday. If anything, the drama was Texas and Texas A&M, and that was about it.
Yeah,
that was a good game.
Yeah, it was, and the result was kind of crazy. I mean, not crazy in a sense like we didn't expect it to happen, but I mean, it really could have happened in the world. We got our guy Forums podcast back, the only guy in the world I know close enough to John Summerall. Therefore, Adam must bleed blue and orange going forward.
No, that's not going to happen.
It's not.
That's not going to happen.
Well, let's go ahead.
That's a great hire, though. I know a lot of Florida fans weren't too excited about it, but I thought it was a great hire.
Yeah, let's jump into that. Let's jump into some. We'll get to Lane in a minute. Let's get to the let's get to some of the hires. We'll start there. Florida Gators. They hired John Summerall. Adam, I gave my take Sunday, and I'll give some more, but we'll let you take that one. What do you think of that hire? Gator fans not liking it. Majority Gator fans. What'd you think?
I think it's a great hire. A lot of people were calling it Napier 2.0 and another Sun Belt coach, which first of all, he's not coming from the Sun Belt. There was a couple stops ago with Troy, so I get why they're saying that, but I think he's been very successful with Tulane. It's a step up. He's only going to get better players coming, and I think being around him, there's just a passion about him that it's contagious. He's going to bring that to his program, and he relates to the players very well too. I can't say whether Napier did or not. I don't know Napier, but Summerall will relate very well to the players. He relates well to them. He has a pretty young coaching staff as a whole at Tulane, and if the majority of them follow there, it's going to be a younger coaching staff there too. So I think he'll do well there. And Florida, again, Florida has not, outside of the Spurrier and Meyer years, Florida has not been super successful. So I get they're annoyed by it, but I don't. It wasn't. Not every coach you're going to hire anywhere in the country is always going to be successful. You're not going to knock it out of the park every single time. I think they did this time, but just because fans think their program's one place doesn't mean the coaching circle thinks that program's at that level or as desirable as what fans always do. You know, it's not who's available, it's who you can get.
Yeah, you're right. I love the hire. I said that Sunday. I like it. I think Summerall's kind of similar built mold as Kirby Smart, Nick Saban type mold. And I always, make sure to caution people I'm not comparing them. I am not under any circumstances saying John Summerall's the next Kirby Smart or Nick Saban. But I feel like his build and his mentality is very similar to those two guys. Now, would that mean success? I don't know, maybe not. But I really, really like John Summerall, and maybe that's biased because I've always heard from many that he's one of the greatest dudes out there. So yeah, I'm excited for that hire for Florida, and I'm looking forward to him getting the Gators back on track and getting that Jacksonville game to be fun again. That's gonna be wild. Athletes Forum podcast says we're gonna find out. Did you know National Signing Day is tomorrow? It is tomorrow. It is tomorrow. Man, what a day that used to be. Pre everything in college football.
And if Florida fans really want to get upset with a Summerall hire, they could be in Penn State's situation that doesn't have a head coach with National Signing Day, and I think they only have 4 commits so far.
We're an SEC show, but what is going on there, Adam? Good night. That is
they got 5 days. They have 5 recruits, so we don't need to go into too much detail about that. That is crazy. I think they overestimate what they could get, and it's not what the fan base and the administrators value a program as. It's what the coaches value that program as. It's not who's available, it's who you can get. Not every coach is gettable at certain schools, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. What'd you think of Alex Golesh and Auburn?
Honestly, I thought that's where Summerall was going to end up. I thought him going to Florida was a little bit of a surprise. I kind of thought maybe Golesh going to Florida, but I really didn't know because they were so hard on Lane. So I knew Golesh was going somewhere. I didn't know where. I think that's a great hire. I think, the American got decimated. They got multiple coaches that went to the SEC. But I think that's another knock it out of the park hire. I really do.
I thought besides the Lane Kiffin, which we're going to get to at the end, that to me was my favorite hire of the day, because I love what he does with his offense. Number one, he's got experience in the SEC. He's got recruiting experience in the SEC. He's like I just said, he called plays at Tennessee. And that's when Tennessee's offense was humming. And from everything I understand, he was the one that was calling plays, not Heupel like Heupel does now. And Heupel seemed to really trust him because he had control over calling the plays. And then also what he's done at South Florida. I thought that's been extremely impressive. I think he's going to be a really good recruiter. I think with the NIL backing that Auburn has, I think he also could have potentially keep guys like Cam Coleman. I mean, if you're Cam Coleman and you go get on YouTube and watch a USF offense, just go turn on the Tennessee offenses. I mean, he spits out 1,000-yard receivers left and right. So that's, to me, is going to be a phenomenal hire. And the Athletes Forum podcast said right here, I wanted Alex too. I can't lie. Him and DJ and his quarterback development would have been awesome. Yeah, and it was just announced that he's keeping Durkin. So, man, Durkin, Durkin.
That's a big one right there.
That's going to be awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited about that hire. One I'm not that excited about, Adam, and our buddy Sean in the group chat has definitely made his opinions known. Although I think Sean's tilting a little bit to starting to come around on it. You know, we always go through these when you don't like the coaching hires as fans, you'll go through this grieving process and then you start to talk yourself into it. I think Sean's getting almost there to talking himself into it, but I don't know how I feel about that Arkansas hire, man, because I went and looked. I said it Sunday. I do not have it in front of me. I apologize, but his record against 500 teams was not very good. His record against 500 teams on the road wasn't very good. And I think from everything I've understood, Memphis is one of the bigger budget G5 schools in the country. And I'll tell you this, there's not many Memphis fans that are upset he's gone. And I know fans can be irrational and all that, but it's not a good sign usually when the fan base is cheering you getting hired away.
Yeah, and he did not build that program. He took over a program that was already in a good spot, and he's going to have to build at Arkansas, and we'll see. You know, he took over a program that Mike Norvell left in a very good spot. Justin Fuente left in a very good spot. So we'll see how good of a program builder he is at Arkansas, because he's not going to come in and be able to just hit the ground running with a program that's already hitting on all cylinders. Like, you know, a Ryan Day was able to do at Ohio State, or, you know, Jimbo Fisher was able to do at Florida State after when he got hired there after Bobby Bowden. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, and like Forum's podcast, does he keep Bobby? A lot of Arkansas fans wanted to keep. From everything I've understood, no. I think Bobby Petrino is going to move on. I don't think Petrino's offense and Ryan Silverfield's offense meshes. It's two completely different offenses, from what I understand.
I wouldn't want to keep Bobby if I was coming in as a head coach either. He's got he's a great offensive coach, but when he was trying to, before a coaching change was even made there, he was trying to sleaze his way into that head coaching job, and that's not somebody I want around my program.
I don't either. I found the numbers. I went back to my notebook. 27-21 in AAC play. And again, like I mentioned, Memphis has one of the bigger budgets in G6. 12-20 versus teams above 500. 3-12 versus teams above 500 on the road. So it's not been good at a school that's pretty well resourced in Memphis and has a lot of big money donors in that school. And then you're going to Arkansas, that's not really known right now to be in the best situation as far as resources. As far as football, it seems like their football don't want to spend right now. And I don't know. I don't like it. But you know what happens usually with these coaching searches? Brian Kelly fails at Arkansas, and then a Kurt Sinetti goes and takes his team to the Big Ten championship game. So who knows? It's all a crapshoot. Adam, all right, man. Before we get to the big lane stuff, I wanted to put it at the end. Your Kentucky Wildcats, man. Mark Stoops. Give it to and a hire already.
Hire.
So give us your outlook on Stoops' era at Kentucky, and you as a Kentucky fan, and also what you think of the hire of Stein as a former Kentucky Wildcat and a diehard Wildcat fan.
So I'll be honest, I'm bummed to see it work out the way it did with Stoops. He's the all-time winningest coach there. He's above 500, which I don't know how many Kentucky coaches in the history of the program can say they've coached over a certain amount of years and are above 500. I just, you know, I didn't want to see him be fired. But it was time to move on, and it's time for a breath of fresh air and a new leader in the locker room, because things were going down pretty quick. It was almost surprising how fast things just started going down the toilet. I think they went to the Citrus Bowl, and then they played Clemson in the Music City Bowl or something the next year, and then they don't go to bowl games 2 years in a row. And it just dropped off quick. I don't know why there's Texas A&M supposedly hired him and then pulled out. He says he was never involved in that. He wasn't going to A&M. Something around that time completely changed, and that program just fell in the toilet after that. So, unfortunately, I wish he would have left on his own. I wish he would have just saved face and said, hey, I'm going to resign. We need new leadership here. But, I think Barnhart, I was thinking Barnhart, because he's rumored to retire at the end of the year, was going to let the new AD hire and fire football, because that's kind of how things happen a lot of times. I think with Stein, they knocked out of the park. I don't think Stoops left him a choice after the way they got drilled against Louisville, rival, in-state rival, an hour down the road. And then Barnhart knocked it out of the park with this hire, getting Stein, man. There was Hartline and Stein were the two finalists. I was kind of hopeful it was going to be Stein, just because he's an offensive guy coaching for a defensive coach. So he's playing more of a role. Where if they would have hired Hartline, he's coaching underneath Day, who was the previous offense coordinator. How much is he really calling plays at Ohio State? I don't know. So I know they have a coach that had a lot more say in what that side of the ball was doing than what they would have with Hartline. So I love the hire. I hope he gets in, hits the ground running, and starts getting recruits like crazy, hits the portal, transfer portal, and brings in the transfers and gets the right fit for what he needs. I think that's the most important sometimes, is you don't want to just get a bunch of talented guys if they're not going to fit your system. And I think you've seen a few places do that. LSU and Penn State are two, I think, that they did really good in the portal this past year, but I don't know if they got the right fit. So I'm hoping he brings just all kinds of new energy to the Kentucky program, man.
We've got a comment in TikTok from a Oregon fan, Scars, I can't see the name. Sorry if I mispronounce it. Y'all got a good one, but we are not done with them yet.
That's fine, because Kentucky ain't got a bowl game. So keep them. Let them do some recruiting, though, please. Let him do some recruiting in Lexington, but he can coach. He can coach as long as you need him.
Yeah, he is one of my favorites. Favorite offensive coordinators. I'm not a scheme guy, and I don't judge things off this. But I'll tell you this: his playbook's the funnest to play on NCAA. I know that much on PlayStation. So I've always liked Stein, though. Even dating back to his, I think it was UTSA he was at. I love that. Loved his time there. And I think he's going to do awesome, I think. Is he from I was distracted while you were talking, getting comments in and all that. Did he play at Louisville, or is he from Kentucky?
He played at Louisville. His dad played at Kentucky, and his dad's season ticket holder to Kentucky.
Okay, because I thought that thing went like he took that job quick.
I'm wondering if at one time I heard the buyout was around $50 million, and I saw today or over the weekend when Stoops was let go that it was around 38 or 39. So I'm wondering if Barnhart had been doing work behind the scenes, knowing he was going to fire him.
Yeah,
but wanted him to coach the season out to try to get the buyout to be lower. I don't know all the terms of the buyout. Maybe I misheard when I thought it was $50 million, but he obviously got a huge paycheck anyway, getting 39 or 38, whatever it was. But I think they got a good one, man. And to make the hire that quick, Barnhart had to be doing something behind the scenes last month.
Yeah. And I'm an idiot. I'm so I accidentally put on Twitter Mike Stoops. I meant Mark Stoops. I don't know how that happened. I got a comment on Twitter. I put talking Mike Stoops firing. And the guy commented and said, question mark Mike? And I'm like, oh shit. It's Mark Stoops that got fired. I don't even know who Mike Stoops is. But yeah, I like like I said, I like the hire. All right, I guess it's time to get to the big one. We'll get to that one, and then we'll talk about what Ole Miss did promoting from within, because I don't think there's any more in the SEC, right? Arkansas, Auburn.
As of now.
Yeah, as of now. I don't think
there's going to be any more either, but as of now, I think we're good unless South Carolina wants to make a move, but I don't think they will.
I don't think they are. I think they're making an OC hire. But all right, well, let's get to the big one, Lane Kiffin.
But, I mean, they were the big victors in the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes, so I had to throw the LSU shirt on today.
Yeah, and man, I said a lot about this Sunday. I think I've clipped it. I have reclipped it. I have put it on every single social we can get that we post on. I think my feeling's well known. I think if we're strictly talking football, I think this is a really dang good hire. I think he's a top 3 offensive genius in the game as far as play calling. I think if it's true that Blake Baker is going to end up staying and he doesn't take the Tulane job or whatever that's out there.
Bring him to New Orleans, baby.
Yeah, that would be massive. Now that's the football side of it. The other side of it, I keep seeing this on Twitter. It feels like I'm in a madhouse sometimes because it feels like we can't separate things in on social media. Like we have to be like, we got to be either, Lane sucks, he's trash, about as a football coach, all because of what he did on the human side of things. It's just kind of crazy to me. Like we can't separate the two. I think he's a phenomenal head coach. I think what he did at Ole Miss was historic. If you go look up Ole Miss's history, I think the only one that's ever accomplished anything close to that is what the stadium's named after. And I think he did amazing things there. And I think he's going to do amazing at LSU. I also think he's a pretty scummy person, what he did. I mean, he held Ole Miss hostage. He gave his coordinators a ultimatum. He dragged his process out so far that maybe Pete Golding was always going to be the choice. I don't know. But he dragged it so long that Ole Miss really didn't have a choice if they didn't want to go to Pete Golding. I don't know. Adam, I'll let you talk on it because I've said this like 20 times over the weekend and all that. So I'll let you – this is your first time being back on air, so I'll give you the floor.
So I saw something really interesting either today or yesterday talking about Lane Kiffin. I was solid on Instagram. Don't know this person's credentials, if they're an insider or not. Might have just been like somebody like you or me talking. They had a theory that Jimmy Sexton knew if Alabama lost the Iron Bowl, there's a good chance DeBoer got fired, and that's the whole reason Lane Kiffin was delaying everything. He wanted to wait it out and see if DeBoer got fired. And if that was the case, he was going to jump on the Alabama bandwagon and try to get that job. No idea if it's true or not. That right there tells you how he feels about LSU. He's seeing it as the hottest thing available right now, but that might change in 3-4 years. Is he going to win games there? Yeah. Is he a good coach? Yeah. I think he's probably already got one foot out the door looking at potentially Alabama. I don't know if that opens in 2, 3, 4 years, but definitely the NFL. I would say he's going to stay at LSU until a job in the NFL opens up that he wants, and he's going to jump ship again and make it just as messy again. And I think that's it. What's the how much is it worth? What's the is the juice going to be worth the squeeze here on this? How long can you keep him? Because if he's gone in 4 years and all you get's 1 or 2 playoff appearances out of it, is that worth it? Going through another coaching change? I don't know. I think that is the scumminess of the type of person he is, that he's always looking for that next job. He's not going to be I would be surprised if he's still at LSU 5 years from now.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, LSU fans, they're going to disagree with us, but I'm telling you right now, if Bama comes open in 3 years, he's leaving you. Bama's his dream job. Always has been his dream job. Always will be his dream job. It's where he's wanted. Hell, he wanted to go when Nick Saban retired, and I think back channeled and tried hard to do that. Yeah, like I said, it's going to be fun though. I think on the football side of things, this is going to be real fun to watch. Death Valley at night with that offense, it's going to be a blast, and I'm excited for the football side of it. Feel bad for the Ole Miss side of it. So Ole Miss promotes Pete Golden. I don't really know what much there is to say other than I don't know what choice they had. I had read reports that they were wanting to go all in on John Summerall. Summerall was pretty far down the line with Florida. I don't know if this is true. I have heard that Summerall would actually had preferred the Ole Miss job.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, that he would prefer the Ole Miss job, but he just didn't know what Lane was going to do. Now, this was reported. Apparently, there was a Lane and John conversation on the phone, and I don't know what he heard on the phone. I don't know if Lane I don't want to be conspiracy theorist, but this is Lane Kiffin we're talking about. I don't know if Lane sabotaged that thing because that's the kind of person Lane is. I don't know, but it seems like he didn't want to wait around on Ole Miss and risk the shot of losing the Florida job or the Auburn job, which he was heavily involved in. Anyway, I like Golden. I don't know. I like him. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Adam?
I don't know enough about him really. The players seem very excited though. I think, when I think back to seeing players have it be announced to that somebody that was already on staff is now becoming the head coach. And we saw with Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, when they are that excited about a coordinator becoming the head coach, it tells you that they really like that coach. They're going to want to run through a brick wall for him. And, that sometimes that, and he might be a great coach. Again, I don't know enough about him, but sometimes if you don't always have to be the best coach if you can get your players to buy in and trust you and want to run through a brick wall for you because they're going to play harder. You saw that this year with Brian Kelly. The LSU team had tons of talent, but those players didn't really want to play for him. And it showed up on the field. So we'll see if he can continue getting guys like that, continue lighting the fire under them and having them want to do everything they can to be successful themselves, be successful as a team, and make their coach look good. And if he can do that, he's going to be a successful coach.
Yeah, and I will say the one thing that I've read is apparently, Golden had really ramped up Ole Miss's recruiting when he got there from Alabama and really ramped that up and was a big part of that whole process at Ole Miss. So it's been it'll be fascinating to watch. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah. All right. I think we touched on the hirings. Let's get to, we had to restart I exit out of StreamYard, so I don't have the graphic for our Sweet Tea MVP now, and I can't find it. I had it earlier, but we had some audio issues and I had to exit out. So we'll just pretend it's there. Adam, what is your Sweet Tea MVP? We didn't even talk at pre-show, so maybe we didn't pick the same.
I'm going Florida running back Jaden Ball, 38 carries, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 40-21 win over Florida State.
You know where I'm going to go? I love that one. I think that kid is John Summerall, probably his very first order of business to keep that guy. Yeah, keep that guy big time. What mine is going to be a team, and it's a team we just got done talking about. And it's going to have, I don't want to give Lane, look, Lane was part of the success, but I want to highlight the Ole Miss Rebels, man. 11-1, and they were 55-19 in the last 5 years. I mentioned this on Sunday. There's only 2 schools in the SEC in the last, I think it's 5 years, that has more wins than Ole Miss. Do you know who they are?
Alabama, Georgia.
That's it. Ole Miss is 3rd in the last 5 years. Ole Miss. Let me repeat that again for the people. Not Adam, because he knows. We got like 30 people watching. We got a couple on TikTok. At Ole Miss now. Not Florida. Not LSU. Not Texas. Not Oklahoma. I'm talking about Ole Miss. 55 wins in the last 5 years, and that they're 3rd in the SEC in the last 5 years. They just went 11-1, and I just did a brief look real quick. I think it's their first 11-win season ever. And, I think kudos to Ole Miss players for a historic season this year for their program. to get into the playoffs, to win the Mississippi State game, despite massive distractions. And yeah, man, kudos to Ole Miss and their football team. They're my Sweet Tea MVP, and I'm rooting for those kids. I think they've become America's team right now after how the way the Lane stuff went down. And so, yeah.
Outside of Baton Rouge, state of Louisiana, LSU fans, I don't know how many people are going to be rooting for anything to do with Lane Kiffin right now. So
Yes.
if it's going to piss Lane Kiffin off or kind of feels like they're giving Lane Kiffin the middle finger by rooting for Ole Miss, people are going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I personally won't, but yes, everybody else is going to definitely do that. Yeah, I'm just the Ole Miss story is just really cool to me. I think people really need to go look into their history as far as like a winning. You know, these last 5 years have been really historic for Ole Miss. So, all right, that was our Sweet Tea MVPs. Adam, I think we got a big game this Saturday.
Who?
I don't know. I think it's the big old SEC championship.
It is championship week, isn't it? Wow.
Championship week.
Wow.
The big one. This is what we live for in the SEC, other than Sweet Tea. This is what we live for. Alabama versus Georgia. Whew.
Who would have thought after Alabama got destroyed, they just didn't look tough enough against Florida State to start the season, and here we are. It's Alabama. They're back in the championship game.
I keep seeing it on Twitter. I see the people, and I got to call them out. And I'm not usually a TV ratings guy. I don't like doing this. I see all the people rolling their eyes. They're like, I'm so bored of this game. Oh, yeah, it's Georgia versus Bama. And come on, you're going to watch it. And you're going to enjoy it. And Sunday, when the TV ratings come out, it's going to be the biggest rated game of the weekend. So let's quit pretending you're all tired of it. You're looking forward to it. You just, I don't know. You get on Twitter and you start making up lies. Because you're gonna get on your couch Saturday and watch a classic clash between Georgia and Alabama. Now, what I'm not lying about as a Georgia fan is I wished it was somebody other than Alabama, because I'm telling you right now, we're fixing to dig into the game. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, your boy ain't falling for it again. Bama's going to win. Bama is going to win. Bama is going to win. Georgia and Kirby, we have a Bama problem. I am going to I think it's 1-8, 1-9, something like that. I've lost count. I'll go ahead and tell you how the game's going to go. Bama's going to go up 35-0. We're going to go in the half. We're going to come back, and we're going to lose 35-34. And that'll be the end of it. And we'll move on, and we'll go to the playoffs, and we'll root for Alabama to lose so we don't have to play them again and lose again. There's my prediction. I'm just, look, man, I don't know, man. I the football side of it, I do think Georgia's playing the better football. I think
so too. This past week, I know rivalry games, you got to throw the records out. And Georgia Tech's a good team, but I expected them to handle Georgia Tech a little bit better than they did. So, Georgia Tech's got a good coach. They got a good team. Maybe I just overlooked Georgia Tech too much in what I expected. But go ahead and finish what you were saying. I interrupted you there a little bit on.
Oh, you're good.
On Georgia. I do think Georgia's playing better right now, though.
Yeah, I was just fixing to say, other than the Georgia Tech game, these last couple of weeks they have, but yeah, the Georgia Tech game was nasty. If you look at any advanced stat metric you want, Georgia Tech dominated in the statistical categories. We call them the stat nerds. Claim is important. And Gunner just was off. Mike Bobo, who I've praised all season, who I've fought off all of his haters. He was really bad. The defense was good against the Georgia Tech offense is pretty good, but yeah, it wasn't good. So if you take away the Georgia Tech game, if you get the Georgia of the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think they're the better team than Alabama. Because Alabama, on the flip side of that, Alabama seems to be playing at their worst right now, even though they've won, the Iron Bowl. They didn't look great. And then they had the Oklahoma loss, and Simpson just hasn't looked right. And the passing game hasn't looked right. And the run game is struggling still. I mean, it had some success against Auburn. So it just feels like it's setting up for a Georgia win. But as I said at the beginning of this, I just cannot find myself falling for it again. I gotta pick Alabama.
I mean, you had Ryan Day break his losing streak to Michigan.
Yeah.
You have a 7-5 ACC team playing in the ACC championship game. So maybe something strange is going to happen this Saturday as well, and Kirby can finally beat Alabama.
I mean, it like I told people on TikTok Live earlier today, it's gonna happen at some point. Hopefully, it's this weekend.
I think it's this weekend. I really do. I do. I'm so torn on this game. I every time I convince myself, I start leaning, Georgia big, then okay, maybe Alabama sneaks it out late. It's close. I think Georgia wins by, a touchdown, maybe a little more.
I hope so. Who did we pick? I think last time I did pick Georgia on our show. Did you pick Georgia in the first game this season?
I feel like I did, but
I think we both did.
I was clearly wrong on that. I was clearly wrong on Lane Kiffin staying at Ole Miss. I was wrong with. I've been wrong on a lot of things this year, so I hope nobody's taking what I'm saying on here with my opinions on anything with gambling, because I'm losing a lot of money.
Me too, brother. Me too. All right, so we gave our final. So you're going Georgia, and I'm going Alabama. And I'll be honest, people, when I clip this, I want to make it clear I am not picking Bama because of anything football related. It's really just a simple fact that I think Georgia has a Bama problem. And I used to think that was crazy when people brought that up. Like, it's a Bama problem. It's a Bama problem. And I was we had a TikTok live earlier, and we were doing a Q&A, and somebody had asked me, why do you think that Georgia can't beat Alabama? And I got to thinking, I was like, maybe these people were right, because I've watched games where Georgia was clearly the better team. And it was just mental mistakes. And it was like, it felt like they were tight. And I don't know, man. Our linebacker said at the press conference this week, he said he had mentioned to his girlfriend or his mama about how he's never beat Bama in all the years he's been there. And I don't know. I think there is something to the fact that these players, you played Adam. I don't know if you have experience in this, but I mean, is it something where maybe it is getting into the players' heads?
I think, it was in our heads every week when I was at Kentucky, because we rarely won. So
yeah,
you can get that. I remember the game against Florida in 2003, I believe it was. We were up 21-3 at the half. We hadn't beat at that point. Kentucky hadn't beat Florida in 20 some years. I think it ran up to almost. It might have been slightly over 30 when they finally beat them a handful of years ago to break that streak. But it was close to 20, and we were up 21-3 at half. And you could just feel the tension in the locker room. Everybody was nervous. I remember somebody wrote on the board, "If you're scared, don't go back out." And I wasn't going to get in the game regardless. So unless Florida blew us out. So yes, I'm all in. I want to win, but I'm kind of taking a step back, looking at it, and I was like, shit, these guys are tight. If he's saying, if you're scared, don't go back out, that's him trying to prove that he's not, because he's feeling scared. And you start to get that, can we do this? What's going to happen type feeling. And when that happens, it starts to snowball. And then it's here we go again. Because the 2002 season down at the Swamp, we had a very good chance to win that game too. Derek Abney returned a punt and a kickoff for a touchdown and caught a touchdown. And we were step and step. Jared Lorenzen threw a late interception, pick six, and we didn't recover from that. And that's kind of what happened in the game. We ended up losing, I think, 24-21. And I think the interception that Lorenzen threw as he was getting sacked, was to make it 21-17. So it wasn't even to give them the lead. The guy got tackled on the 2-yard line, I believe. They punched it in. I don't even think it was to give them the lead. this game's over 20 years ago now, so my mind's not perfect on this, but and once that happened, you could just feel it on the sidelines, just everybody shoulders drops like, oh, we're gonna lose this game. That just nobody's saying it, but you could just kind of see it in everybody's faces.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there you go from a player's perspective. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Georgia comes out loose. They
say winning is contagious, and that, like I talked about Summerall earlier, that excitement and passion he has for the game of college football as he's coaching, that's contagious. That wears off on the players. And if you have some negativeness, that'll wear off on the players too, just like everything else in life. You got a negative person at work or around your house, that's going to make everybody else get negative. You got an upbeat, positive, and you got somebody that is passionate and ready to just go beat the hell out of the other team and is going to stay positive no matter what. It makes a huge difference,
Yeah. Adrian Russell, I hope I said your name right, asked, do y'all think Auburn will ever be able to compete in the SEC like they once did? Sure. If you make the right hire.
I think you're going to see everybody competing at times because of the transfer portal. You can't stock up on the talent like you used to be able to. 1, 2, I think you're gonna have a lot more. You might even start seeing it with some of your standard all top of the line teams. You're gonna see a lot more roller coasters because teams are going to come in, get a bunch of great players, and then the next year they all graduate, go to the NFL, or transfer out again. And it's so hard to backfill recruiting high school players and out of the portal, knowing what you need when they leave as often as they do. And sometimes the coaches get blindsided by that. So, yeah. Auburn's going to be there. Whether they can stay there at the top of the mountain year in and year out, that's a different story. I think that they will be in the playoffs here. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a lot of different teams going into the playoffs. You're always going to have your money teams there, your Ohio State, your Alabama, your Georgia, until something major happens, as long as they keep those coaching staffs intact. But I think you're going to start seeing a little bit more spread out in the next 10 or so years of talent going a lot of different places. They finally are starting to figure out, I don't have to go to the best schools if I want playing time and money and go to the NFL anymore like they used to.
Jared Curtis. Jared Curtis today. That showed it right there. And playing time was a factor in his decision to flip to Vandy. It wasn't a money thing. It was playing time. Vandy was offering player time, and the fact that they went 10-2. Look, Adrian, I think I said your name. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in the opinion, if you within reason, we're not talking about Kent State or freaking UMass here. I'm talking within reason, because I'll say these comments sometimes and people go, "Oh, so you think you can do that at UMass?" I'm like, well, no, I didn't feel I had to say that, but let me preface this by saying, within reason, I think if you make a right hire, anybody can compete year in and year out. I mean, we live in a world right now where Indiana is making its second playoff appearance, second in a row. We live in a world where Ole Miss, yeah, go ahead, Adam.
And Vandy is 10-2.
10-2, and we live in a world where Ole Miss, just as we mentioned earlier in the show, 5-year run where they're third in the SEC in wins. So yeah, Auburn's and I said those programs. Ole Miss has never won a national championship. Indiana's never won a national championship. Vandy's never won a national championship that I know of. Auburn has. Auburn's got a couple of them. They won in 2010. I think they've got some back in the day too.
They won 5 or 6 more this year.
Yeah.
And still fire their coach.
Yes. So yes, Auburn will do well as long as we are in the opinion they have made the right hire. We'll see. I think they have made a hire that can get them consistently competing. I compared it to this on TikTok earlier today, Adam, is that hire that Auburn made. I see it could be going similar to the Tennessee way. The only concern I have with the hire for Auburn, because we didn't talk about any really concerns, is I do feel the offense that he runs, which is the Josh Heupel offense, the veer and shoot, I do feel like there is a ceiling for that offense. I feel like there's a ceiling, and I think personally Josh Heupel has hit that ceiling. But Josh Heupel is consistently winning. You know, he had a down year this year, 8-4, but they're usually consistently winning 9 or 10 games a year. And I think he can. I think he could do. Alex Golesh can be Auburn's Josh Heupel.
I think if he gets the right defensive staff, I'm still firm believer defense wins championships. You need to be able to score now too, but if you can get the right defensive staff, and because Heupel is an offensive guy, Golesh is an offensive guy, I think that's part of what will make Tennessee better is they haven't had the right defensive staff, or maybe the staff's great. They haven't had the right defensive players to really be able to dominate. And I think if you get that, you don't need to score as many points. That ceiling on the offensive side of the ball is not as big of a deal.
Yeah. All right, guys. We are at 45 minutes, and we usually go about this long or an hour, and I think we've hit everything we needed to. Before I hand it over to Adam, couple of notes. Come join us at 9. You will see my ugly face again. Our buddy Sean's out. I'm going to host his show, Coach's Corner, with Ronnie and Chris. So, yeah, come join us at 9 here in 30 minutes. I'll be back. Luckily for you, I'm not going to do much talking on this one. I will leave all the talking to Chris and Ronnie. I will just host and direct, and we'll go from there. So if you don't like hearing my voice, you won't have to hear it on the next one. But yeah, we appreciate everybody joining. Guys, listen, we are growing fast, and we appreciate all the subs on YouTube. We appreciate all the follows on TikTok. We appreciate the few we've got on Instagram now. We got an Instagram now. We got 2 Instagram accounts. And Adam will give you the SEC one. But yeah, just go follow all our accounts. If you type in CFB SZN, you'll find it. It'll show up on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And if y'all could just go hit that sub button, and I'm gonna let Adam close it out with his normal stuff, and we'll see y'all. Actually, I'm gonna put Adam on the spot. I think he's already answered this. I hope I'm not putting him on the spot. Me and Austin, maybe Sean, maybe Adam for a CFP playoff ranking live reaction Sunday. I can't remember if you said yes or no.
What? That's about 11. More than likely, yes. More than likely, yes. Yes.
So I do need to announce that. We know our Thursday show. Adam's more than likely yes. Me and Austin for sure. But if you'll come Sunday, while the playoff rankings is going on, we, CFB Season Family, will live react to it. We did this last year. It was our highest rated show we have ever had. We will live react as they're coming on the TV. We're going to have fun. It's going to be loose. It's going to be, we're just going to watch TV together and live react to it. And yeah, go nuts. All right, Adam, you can close us out.
Yeah, as Chris said, I appreciate everybody that's been subscribing, that watches the shows. I really have fun with it. I know Chris does as well. So thank you there. LSU this week. For those that are new to the show, I've worn a different higher education shirt or pullover, something every single show, and will continue to. They don't have to have football. Don't really need to go into too much detail on LSU. I think everybody knows kind of their backstory, but any type of higher ed, and if you guys want to see your school on here, send me one of your shirts, and I'll take it to Goodwill for you after that. My Twitter handle is down at the bottom, CFB guy. You can reach me there. We can figure out the details to get it to me. Or keep watching. I worked in college athletics for 15 years. I got a lot of friends and colleagues in athletics that have given me shirts over the years. So I'm wearing the shirts that they've given me, and just keep watching and just see what shirt I'm wearing, or if I wear your shirt, if you guys want to send me one. So I appreciate that. I'm super excited about this weekend. That's the best thing about the American playing on Friday now, since I got to work the American game at Tulane. I can now sit on my couch all day and watch all the other games. So I hope everybody else is able to do that too. Keep sipping that sweet tea and watching the SEC.
Peace, guys.